reaction to these unverified reports of chemical weapons being used?
Well, they are exactly that. They are unverified. We are aware of the reports that have been circulating on social media. They're not something that we've been able to verify overnight from the Ministry of Defence here in London, nor have any of our major allies been able to verify it either. And indeed, President Zelensky, in his address last night, referred to the reports rather than saying he had seen confirmation of their use as well. So I think it's important to be clear on that right at the outset. However, it is also important to say that it's quite extraordinary that we are having a conversation about the use of chemical weapons in 2022 on the European continent, and that if they were to be used, people need to be very clear in the Kremlin that there will be a response and that all options for that response are on the table.
Now, sticking with Mariupol, it is a city which has fought and fought, but many commentators are saying that it might have to surrender. It may fall to the Russians. What will that do to Ukrainian morale?
Well, I think that Ukrainian morale is extraordinarily high. The strategic success that they have had in defending their capital and forcing a change in the Russian plan is amazing. I mean, it is something that, to be honest, we didn't think was possible 6 weeks ago in this building. Yet they have fought with incredible tenacity and turned the Russians away. Mariupol is in the eye of the storm because that eastern and southern part of Ukraine is now where the Russian effort is concentrated. Clearly, Russia wants to hold the entire Ukrainian coast of the Sea of Azov, and the fighting there has therefore been fierce. And it is amazing to see the resolve of that Marines unit who seem committed to fight to their last man and the last bullet. Whether or not Mariupol stands, I think, is not the issue. I think the Ukrainians know that that is the case. They know that the fight in the Donbass this spring and on into the summer is going to be the decisive part of that war. That's what they're gearing up for. That's what we're helping them to be ready for.
And as you say, all the signs are that the Russians are regrouping. They're definitely going to be focusing on the east, and there is a chance that their attacks will be even more vicious than the action that we've seen. How do we as a country and how does NATO respond to even more aggressive attacks on the east front of Ukraine?
Well, I mean, we respond by continuing to support the Ukrainian armed forces with all of the weaponry that we can provide. But I think that it's, if I were listening to Times Radio from Moscow today, I would be very concerned that the arrogance of Vladimir Putin is again on display because he has got the Victory Day parade of May the 9th in mind as a moment when he needs to show some big Russian military success. And so once again, his arrogance and his showmanship is driving a military plan that makes no sense. The mud of eastern Ukraine in the springtime is legendary. It halted or contributed to the halt of the advance of the Nazis in the Second World War. And we're now in a place where if they want to try to fight at pace in the Donbass ahead of May the 9th, they're going to find themselves having to drive in very long columns on roads. And we saw north of Kyiv 2-3 weeks ago just how vulnerable that makes the Russians to the tactics that the Ukrainians are deploying.
And Minister, Max Hastings has today written an incredibly sobering piece in the Times newspaper saying that he thinks Russia will take the east and that the only way to stop the war and to stop the bloodshed will be, in his own words, a sordid bargain that does not punish Russia as it deserves because this cannot be achieved. Is he right?
I've not seen his article. I'm not sure it sounds like something I would agree with. I think that the Ukrainians have got the wind on their back right now. They have seen off the initial advances. In doing so, they have defeated some of Russia's best regiments and battalions. the next wave of Russian troops that come at them in the Donbass will not therefore be Russia's best. They won't be equipped with the best of Russia's equipment. And I think what we're looking forward to now is a fight between two very well-matched military powers. Even if the Russians numerically superior, the Ukrainians are well dug in positions that they have held for 8 years or so. And therefore, I don't think that Max Hastings is right to say that a Russian victory in the east of Ukraine is inevitable. In fact, I think it's quite likely it could be the other way around. And therefore, nobody in the West should be rushing to trade away Ukrainian territory. That is something for President Zelensky and President Zelensky alone. And right now, his resolve is to fight, and therefore we will support him.
And final question very quickly. The front page of the Times is reporting that a state-of-the-art British missile has blown a Russian drone out of the sky in its first recorded use in Ukraine. Are you worried that President Putin might see that as an act of uniquely British aggression against Russia?
Well, I think President Putin and those that surround him in the Kremlin have already been very clear that they think the UK is their leading opponent in terms of the international support to Ukraine. I think that is a consequence of the fact that the UK has indeed sought to lead the international response and has done so. Actually, I think I'm aware of those weapon systems having been used before the thing in the Times successfully. But look, what matters is that we're putting the right weapons into the hands of the right people in the right place at the right time, and they are having an effect on the Russian forces as they continue to try to invade Ukrainian sovereign territory. And the best way for the Russians to avoid being shot down or have their tank blown up is to get out of Ukraine.
Well, we're grateful for your time this morning. That's James Heappey, Armed Forces Minister.